Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today's Friday, and today's time for the weekly update. And I've had a real busy week. I'm back in Florida. I just got back from being out in Kansas and being out in Texas, and I was even to Las Vegas for a couple of days, and I spent another whole week or two in Missouri, hunting and fishing and turkey hunting and just all kind of things. But one of the things that I've been doing, a lot of people comment. They write in comments, and one of the comments is, Roland, just how do you get set up on the YouTube filming? You know, and I do a lot of this on my own. Well, here's my setup. I just want to show you real quick what it is. This is about a $400 GoPro 9 system, and it's a special little case that I have for it. This little sound system at the bottom is another $50 or $60, and then the sound here that I'm using, this is the Sennheiser sound. That's $750. That's professional sound. So this whole setup's about $1,500. The camera, the tripod, all the other stuff. And so what I'll do is I'll go like this. I'll say, GoPro, start recording. Okay, see, it's on. Okay, see the little red lights on? Okay, the red lights is going 27, 28, 29. So it's recording itself. So I'm actually recording myself as I'm filming. So what I do all week, and so what was so cool was out in Missouri, I did an awful lot of fishing with Ronnie Curry from Ava, Missouri, and we went around to Bull Shoals Lake, and that was really fantastic with topwater and worms and spinnerbaits. And then we fished a bunch of ponds around Ava with all sorts of different lures. And one of the things I do, I take like this whopper plopper and I throw it out there. Well, I'd turn to the camera, I'd say, okay, GoPro, start recording. So then I'd say, folks, and I'd just talk to the camera like I'm talking to the camera right now. And then I'd explain every little thing about how I'm retrieving it, about the line that I'm using. And see, that's the whole thing about me and what I do. I'm an old school teacher at heart, and in fact, I taught school for a long time. I can explain stuff. And that's what I'm doing to the camera. I'm talking to it like it's a student or something. It's like an inanimate object. I can talk right to the camera. Hey, let me tell you what to do. And so I have that ability to talk to the camera and to kind of communicate. So that's the whole deal. Well, when we filmed out there this last week, we filmed about 10 different YouTube shows. And there were really some good 3 and 4 and 5 pound bass being caught, not only on the whopper plopper, but probably the #1 lure, and I have to just tell you about, is the old Cinco. Now here, look at this. This was so cool. I want to get this camera and pretend like I'm talking to the camera again. I would take this Cinco, and I'd take it off the hook. And I'd say, okay, folks, let me just show you how to rig it up. And I'd say, come through the head of the worm and blah, 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 and use this special 4/0 hook, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd have to screw in weight. I was talking about that, how you screw the weight in. And then what I'd do, I'd get the camera, I'd kind of turn it all off, and I'd take the camera and I'd get it all set up. And I'd get right here, where the camera's, I'm all in focus now, just like there. You can see the camera in the picture. And I'd just say, okay, you want to hold a high rod, for example. And I'd explain that. And I'd explain the line. I'd explain what rod that is and the exact ratio reel and everything about this whole system. And every time I'd catch a fish, I found out just catching fish isn't what you want. You, the viewer, you don't really care if it's a real big fish or just as long as it's a decent fish. It doesn't have to be the biggest fish in the world, but what you want is you want me to tell you exactly how I catch it and not every little thing about it. And that's kind of, I'm halfway good at it. I can really do that. Another thing I did was, another show we did with Ronnie was a show on a spinnerbait. Now this wasn't just a regular spinnerbait. This show I did with Ronnie Curry was on the trailer hook. We caught like a whole dozen bass entirely on the trailer hook, not on the main hook of the spinnerbait, but on the trailer hook of the spinnerbait. And that was really, really, really a big part of it. So again, we had the camera set up like this, and we were in a boat that day, and I had the camera set up on a seat. So every time Ronnie would catch one, I'd take the GoPro and just swivel the seat around on Ronnie. But then I was showing exactly the retrieve, and the beautiful thing about this trailer hook deal was as I'd retrieve it, and as we'd get strikes, and as we'd hit things, and as we'd get a fish, we would look at that trailer hook And some of them are caught on the whole spinnerbait. But like I say, about 8 or 9 of them, and some of the bigger ones, in fact, the biggest ones, were caught on the trailer hook. And it was a really, really kind of a big, important deal to realize how many times have you gone fishing with a spinnerbait, had little taps and had little bumps and not thought too much about it. In reality, you probably lost a big fish. Well, oh, my camera's going crazy. That was my GoPro camera shutting off. Okay, now the other thing I did was I did another whole big couple shows on swim baits. Now this is not the hardtail grub. I normally use the 4.5 hardtail grub from Yamamoto, but again I was showing just what we do with that. We just threw it out and did a lot of, you know, just slow rolling, and boy, we caught some beauties on this hardtail. This was really a big, well, not only the hardtail but just swim baits in general. So that was a really big part of my film, and I did about 5 different lures, about 5 different lakes, and big lakes, little lakes, ponds. We were in a boat. We even did some bank fishing. I did 4 or 5 nice shows on just how to approach bank fishing. It was such a big deal. But that was one part of the whole trip. The other part of the whole trip was turkey hunting. Turkey hunting. Now look, let me just show you my turkey hunting stuff. This turkey hunting stuff, you've seen me a long time now, taking these box calls that you've seen me make. The acacia wood is from my yard. There's an acacia tree over there, another acacia tree over there. And I've cut this wood, and this is the top. This is the top of this butternut box call. I sell them for $200, and they're exquisite, and they really work. Not only in Missouri, look at this. In Missouri, just last week, the last one I shot was 25 pounds. Look at the beard. That's a monster, monster, monster beard. And look at some of the turkey spurs. We're talking about big old turkeys. Huh? Oh, right here. Here it is. 1.5 inch spurs. Big old giant spurs like that. That's a big spur. Okay, now here's another thing that I've been doing with my turkey calls, and I'm waterproofing them. Now, one thing about a box call that's wood and it gets wet, it doesn't work good. So what happens, look, I'll show you something. I can take this box call, and it's got the waterproofing I've done. This is something you'd never do. Nobody in their right mind would ever do this. I'll take this box call and just get it all wet. I mean, and you'd say, that thing's not gonna work. It's all wet. Listen to it, listen to it. Just as good as when it was dry. That's my new waterproofing compound. So that's something else, and I also did some camouflage stuff on it. So I kind of have options on different things, and I do all kinds of different things. But one of the other things it's been really such a big deal for me this year is I'm shooting, and I've explained this before, I'm shooting this 410 single shot Stevens with a TSS 3-inch load. Now, this is so important. And let me talk about ballistics for just 1 second to explain how this little 410 kills turkeys out to 50 yards. And that is the specific gravity of lead, and everybody knows that lead's heavy, is 11.2. It means it's 11.2 times heavier than that water right there, 11.2. And that has a lot of kinetic energy. The heavier something is, the more it forces itself forward, you know, kinetic energy, residual force, okay. Well, tungsten, which is in this load here, has a specific gravity of 18.3. 50% hotter, 50% more power than, well, 50% more kinetic energy, you'd say, than the lead. So what they can do is, instead of using number 5 lead, that's a standard in almost all turkey hunting. Everybody uses number 5 lead. Number 5 lead is a certain diameter. You can go down to a 9.5 load. Now here's the big Ninja load. This is so cool. This is the Ninja load, and it's a 7/8 of an ounce load, 9.5 shot. It shoots at 1,060 feet per second. And what that 9.5 does, there's as many pellets in that 9.5 load as there in a regular 3-inch 12-gauge Magnum. There's many pellets in here. Now, one other thing, this has more penetration because not only is it a heavier load, it has more kinetic energy. Picture this. Picture an ice pick in one hand with a 5-pound weight on it. and picture a Phillips head screwdriver in the other hand with a 5-pound weight on it, and drop them into something, which is going to penetrate the most, the ice pick or the Phillips head screwdriver? Well, you know the ice pick's going to penetrate more. And that's the principle of a smaller tungsten shot. It has the same kinetic energy, but it also has greater penetration because it's smaller. Okay. Now, the other thing it does is a load of tungsten. When it comes out the choke of a barrel, all these have super tight chokes. And these chokes are all constricted real tight. And as the lead comes out, some of the outside lead pellets kind of are deformed just a little bit, not a whole lot, but they're deformed so that the pattern spreads out a little bit because they kind of deflect and hit in the air kind of funny. But the tungsten is one of the hardest metals in the world. Tungsten is extremely hard, and it doesn't deform at all. When it hits the choke constriction, it stays perfectly, and the pattern is tighter and smaller with tungsten than it is with lead. So you have a smaller pattern. And here's the proof of the pudding. Here's the proof of the pudding. Picture this. This is a 12 gauge. No, I mean, this is not a 12 gauge. This is the 410 Ninja load. Okay, that's the 410 Ninja load right here, like we're talking about. This is the Pattern Master choke, like I have on here. And look at that, look at that. If that had been a turkey, that's 40 yards now. The turkey couldn't have put himself into that position without, that would have killed him. I mean, it would have just killed him. If here's the turkey silhouette, and that's, say if I'd superimpose that on that, anywhere on that target, that would have been, I don't know how many pellets would have killed that turkey. In fact, in this one load here, here's another one 40 yard shot. I think I held it up to the light. I think I counted 18 loads, 18 little holes in the kill zone. So that's at 40 yards. That's an incredible. So this particular type of ammo, these Apex people, for example, and also Federal makes a load, and Browning makes a load. There are several other people make TSS. But it's changed the name of the game. We've now extended our ranges way, way beyond what they used to be. And I can now comfortably shoot a lightweight 4-pound little 410 shotgun. And whereas before I'd have to aim like this, and I couldn't aim this way because I can't get there on it. I can take this like a pistol, like this. And shoot it just like a pistol. Boom. And kill turkeys with it way out. The one I killed the other day in Missouri, 47 yards. Well, that's the kind of stuff we're doing. Anyway, I'm getting ready to go up to New York with Jimmy Houston. By the way, Jimmy Houston's wife, Chris, suffered a big stroke a month ago. Jimmy's not been fishing. He's been at bedside vigil with Chris, and she's in a rehab center now. She's learning how to speak a little bit better. She's getting her paralysis is coming around. She's getting better every day. And so there's a lot of hope there, and it looks like she's going to make a good recovery. But Jimmy's hadn't been fishing. So we're going to go up to New York here in about another week or so, and we're going to not only fish with smallmouth bass and largemouth bass, we're going to kill some turkeys as well. So that's so I'll be staying tuned, and I'll tell you more about that trip, because that's going to be exciting as heck, being with Jimmy Houston. I think Mike Iaconelli might even join us. He's been invited, and I think Mike might come up and do a little bit of hunting and fishing with us as well. Anyway, folks, that's what's happening in my world. I really enjoy passing it on. I really enjoy telling you a few things about how I fish and how you can better fish. Well, anyway, that's what's happening in my world. We'll see you again soon. Hit that likes button.